Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to Joe Daddy's Garage on Christmas Eve 2024. I hope you all have been good. I know Santa's been checking the naughty nice list, and I'm not in communication with him, so I don't know exactly who was good and who was bad, but you know. And so I hope you still end up with some presents because we all need stuff like, presents. We all need stuff. And I'm looking forward to this Christmas. As you know, I have 3 grown adult kids and currently have 2 grandkids. And that makes it so much better. It's nice when your kids are celebrating Christmas with you, but when you have grandkids, that's a whole nother level. That is a whole nother level because you can give them all kinds of stuff, and then that stuff leaves. It goes away. It goes with them back to their house, and then they're responsible for it. But it's still Christmas for them is really really amazing. We had a conversation with our grandson the other day, and he was asking us about Santa. So we had to talk to him. Tell him Santa's out there, and Santa's going to be, good, bringing you presents and all that sort of thing. And it was good. It was nice to have that conversation. And our granddaughter is only 3, so she's not quite at that level, but she's enjoying the season as well. And we're looking forward to all of that. Now, let me tell you up front, Christmas at our house is it's great with the family and all that sort of thing. But the highlight for me is lasagna. That's right. We don't have ham or turkey or anything like that. We have lasagna, and we use a recipe that my mom has been using for decades. And my wife makes that lasagna, and you can't beat it. That is the best lasagna, period, at least in my opinion. So you all can be jealous of that. We know. Lasagna, just amazing. So anyway, we have 28 viewing tonight, and I didn't know what the turnout was going to be, simply because it's Monday on a couple days before Christmas. So hopefully everybody is already prepared and ready to go, and has all their stuff bought that they're going to be giving to their family and friends and all that sort of thing. I have to give a shout out to Robert. He gave me a fantastic Christmas present, and it's a coupon or whatever for Krispy Kreme donuts. So I'm gonna be getting some Krispy Kreme donuts sometime in the near future. And if you haven't had Krispy Kremes, you're missing out. Those are amazing donuts, and the coffee's pretty good too. So get the coffee along with that. Okay, enough of the small talk. I haven't done, I say enough, I haven't done really much of anything in the garage this past week. I know that I posted a video on my secondary channel, Joe Daddy's Workshop, where we moved the storage barn that I have outside the building here. Me and my neighbor got together and was able to move that. And then I spent several days rearranging stuff, moving, getting rid of things. And I have a bunch of stuff that I need to get rid of. This pretty much all Chevy parts at this point, but that is more steps in the process of reducing your footprint. The materials that you have that you may or may not need. So anyway, that's what I've been working on this past week. Really haven't done much of anything out here in the garage besides get tools and stuff out of here. But okay, let's hope we have a good conversation tonight, and we're gonna have. It's kind of open on the subject matter. If you're new to my live stream, we usually talk about classic cars ranging from about 1955 to 79, 80, 81, somewhere in that range. But we can open this up to a variety of different things, just because there's no real agenda for tonight. So let's see who's here tonight. And the first one in is Tats Garage. I hope you all have a great Christmas. Thank you. Appreciate that. Likewise. Merry Christmas. I don't know if it's meant to be Tats or T-A-Ts. I don't know, but we'll go with Tats. Jerry from the Money Pit, Middle Tennessee. Good evening, all. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Likewise, Jerry. Let's hope it's a Happy New Year, right? Always hope for that. Dave Tyson, first Dave sighting. Good evening, all. Evening, Dave. Glad you're here. Terry Keithley. Merry Christmas to all and Barry. Please hit the thumbs up and like button for Barry, please. Terry, Betty, and the cats. Thank you to all. And Merry Christmas as well. Richard Vogel. Good evening and Merry Christmas to you and your family. Thank you, sir. Likewise. Steve Reed from Paducah, Kentucky. Hello, Barry, and everyone. I hope everyone has a great Christmas. And thumbs up for Barry. Thank you, Steve. Appreciate you. The bowler hat guy, our second David. Good evening, all. Hello, or good evening, Barry. Hello, all. Have you seen any of the videos from the PRI show in Indy? No. I don't even know what that PRI is. So, I have not. But welcome. I'll have to look that up, I guess. Robert checking in. Evening, all. Evening, Robert. Again, shout out for the Krispy Kreme surprise. Gotta love Krispy Kremes. Really, I mean, you can't beat the donut. Jerry also checking in. Howdy, Barry. Howdy, all. On my way home from Phoenix. Sorry I missed the chat. I pray you all have a Merry Christmas and a happy holiday season. Thank you, Jerry. Enjoy your... I hope you have a good flight coming back. Lost 2-1. Merry Christmas to all. Thank you. And Merry Christmas to you as well. Bob Shoemaker, good evening. Good Christmas Eve to all. Lots of Eves here. Yeah. But there's no elf on a shelf. No, that's not here. I don't have any of that. I have Iron Man on a body stand. How about that? Iron Man on a body stand. That's a new elf on a shelf thing. Rick Gain is too cold and there's white stuff on the ground that I do not like. Yeah. And you can have it. I don't want any of that, Rick. It's been cold here. This morning I got up, it was like 26 degrees, I think. Something like that. It was pretty cold. Or 30, I don't know. It was cold. Yeah, it was 28 degrees. And that's what it's going to be the next couple days in the morning. 28, 33. But the nice part is we are past the solstice, right? We are now on the days becoming longer, which I'm all happy about that. I hate these short evenings or, short days. Just doesn't feel right. My wife and I go in, we'll get something to eat, start watching TV, and we're kind of like yawning, and we look at each other, and it's 7 o'clock. It's 7 o'clock already. I go, boy, we need to go to bed. Robert says, it's way too warm here in Texas. It'll be 77 this time next week. I would happily take that. Happily. Tim Miller, Merry Christmas to all. Merry Christmas to you, Tim. Thank you, Tim. I know you respond to a lot of my videos, and I appreciate that. I do. I see you on there all the time. Dave Conville, good evening, Barry. Merry Christmas. Thank you, sir. Merry Christmas to you. Oh, and Dave has supplied me with a super sticker. Thank you, man. That's much appreciated. Much appreciated. Thank you. Chris Greenaway says hi from the Great White North. Glad to hear, Chris. Tim. Rain. Let's see. Rain Hall weather. YouTube doing Santa path across the world. It's funny for kids. Oh, okay, yeah. Talking about the Santa weather thing, what they do, the radar. Yep, they like that. David Sweatman, hey Barry, Merry Christmas to you all. Thank you. That's like 3 or 4 Davids, I think. David, the bowler hat guy, performance racing industry, it's like SEMA, but for race parts. Oh, I've never gone to that. That sounds interesting. Maybe one day I'll get a chance to go up there. Blue Healer, greetings from Texas Hill Country, Barry. I don't come in often, but I wish you and your family a wonderful Christmas and New Year, sir. Thank you. I remember the name. I know I haven't seen you, chat or anything on here in a while, but I remember the name Blue Healer. So glad you're here. Doyle, Merry Christmas, Barry. Just now joining, baking chest pie and making fudge. That sounds wonderful. Like I said, my wife is making lasagna. This lasagna we get twice a year, Christmas and my birthday. Best time. So normally there's very few leftovers, or I'd offer y'all some, but there probably won't be any leftovers, especially after this evening, or Sunday evening, when we have our Christmas celebration. Okay, so we've got 32 watching. That's cool. I will say I did receive something in the mail today, and I don't see him on here yet. I don't know. I guess he'll show up. But last week I talked about a mug that I saw online, and I was saying this is really cool. They're not cheap. I mean, it's a really cool looking mug because it looks like an oil filter, and the cap comes off. And so what happens is Travis sent me one of those mugs. And this is really cool. I mean, the handle's a fixed location. You're not going to move that. And the lid does come off. So it's got a sippy hole in the bottom there, So you can have a sippy cup of coffee. And thank you, Travis. This hits the spot. I mean, I really think this is cool. That is cool. I have to really say that because it is. And we'll probably use that on camping trips and all kinds of stuff. But that may be my new official Monday night coffee mug for now. And it's from Clutch, is the company. And so it comes in a really nice box. And it's got some foam inside to protect it, I guess, even though it's a steel cup. So, really, really cool. Okay, going to move on. Now, I know that I mentioned before about the stuff that I have accumulated with the in the barn and having all kinds of stuff. Now, I've mentioned this before. I know I'm known for doing Mustang stuff, right? And that doesn't mean I'm just a Mustang person. I have done all kinds of work on different cars. Growing up in a junkyard, we had all kinds of different vehicles. I drove so many different vehicles over the years. But I wanted to show you these pictures because I was digging through just some random pictures that I had because I was thinking about all the Chevy stuff that I've had over the years as well. Now, back in the early 90s, and I've talked about my Malibu, this was my 79 Chevy Malibu that I had. And this car was a lot of fun. I had a 350 in it, automatic. Of course, it's a two-door with a Landau roof. And it was baby blue from the factory. And at some point, I don't remember what year exactly, but Roger and I started working on it, and we were going to paint it. And so if you look in this picture, and you see the tree that is above the window, the back window of the Malibu, that tree is like, I don't know, 70, 80 feet tall now or something like that. It's a massive tree. So I can tell you this was probably, again, early 90s. And this was really one of the first kind of all-over paint jobs that Roger and I were attempting. And we didn't have the right material, right tools, and right equipment. But it was getting there. And then other things got in the way with life. And I ended up selling that car. And it, I don't know if it ever got finished. I really don't know. But we tried. We tried. But I also want to show you something else. Now, if you see the on the right-hand side, that was my '69 Camaro with the black vinyl top and the black stripes. And that car was basically a rust-free Camaro, but it had been hit on the right side, so the right quarter was all Bondo, but everything else was steel. And the car on the left is a car that a friend of mine that I worked with had, that I forget what he had me fix, something in a trunk, putting in a trunk pan or something. I don't remember the details exactly, but I know I welded something in the back of that car. And then the Camaro, anytime you're looking in my shop and you see behind the lift, there's a hood hanging on the wall. That is the hood from that Camaro. And that hood served as a headboard for my youngest son's bed in his bedroom. It actually hung on the wall, and it acted as the headboard. So I'd done up his bedroom to where it looked like a garage. Had all the cabinets were gray, the walls are painted gray. It had, traffic signs and stuff like that in there, and so it was done up like that. So the hood, once he moved out, and that bedroom just became a regular room again, I took the hood out, and it hangs in the back of the garage. So that's what that is. But along with that, I'll show you this. This would have been probably 97, somewhere around 96, 97. So that was one of the Suburbans we had. And in this picture of my two sons, so my boys are about 2.5 years apart, I think. 2 years apart. About 2 years apart. 2.5 years, somewhere in that range. And so our daughter wasn't here yet, but that's the Suburban that we used to drive. And I still regret selling that Suburban because that thing was fantastic. That was a really, really, really nice vehicle. And like I said, my boys right there are probably 5 and 3, maybe, something along those lines, I'm guessing. And one other truck I want to show you. This is my 91 Silverado that I had. I bought that. That was the first new vehicle I ever bought. And that truck was a V6 5-speed. And I put on the 8-inch rally wheels. I pulled off some of the trim here and there, had the windows tinted. And it was a fun truck. It was a pretty fun truck. But that is part of the reason why I've accumulated, plus I raced a stock car and accumulated a bunch of Chevy parts. Now, the plan, I don't really have a plan as far as what I'm going to do with all that stuff, because I don't see me probably doing any more heavy builds on a Chevy at this point. I've got everything set up to do Fords and Mustangs, and so that's probably what I'll just stick with. As I said before, I've got this 68 Camaro to finish, but I don't plan to put an engine in that or transmission or any of that stuff. So all those, I have extra wheels, I have tin work for an engine, I have starters and alternators and brackets and all kinds of stuff that I won't be using. So I'm going to end up selling off probably most of that stuff. There's Travis, my #1 patron. I was just bragging on you, man. I've got this wonderful clutch coffee cup. I mean, this thing's so cool. So cool. Like I said, that may be my new official Monday night coffee cup. Okay. So, I just want to show you some of those vehicles that I've had over the years. And that's only a small percentage. I know at some point I had a list that was well over 200 vehicles that I've bought and sold and owned and, whatever over the years. Some more than once. I've had the same vehicle several times. But I think at this point, like I said, I'm not going to be doing much more with with Chevy stuff. I mean, I'll work on them. I still do work maintenance-wise for people, but I just don't see the opportunity for me to be building another one. I want to stay focused on the Fords, and I think that has allowed me to, let's say, not get distracted too much. So when I'm working on any of these Mustangs, I I pretty much know them now like the back of my hand. And that's not to say I wouldn't work on some other stuff. I've had people ask me to do mini tubs in Camaros because I've done that before. I've had other people ask me to do different things on other brands, and I'm not saying I won't do that, but my main thing is going to be staying on the Mustang stuff. As I was going through the barn, I also found some odds and ends that, like here, I have what looks like one of those old Hurst shifters. I don't even know what this is from. I don't remember. This is probably off a car that was in the junkyard, and I kept it from being a teenager because I thought it was, I thought it was pretty cool. So that's one of those odd things. I found some boxes in the barn that were Edelbrock carburetor and intake manifold that were used on that blue Malibu. And so those boxes have just been sitting in there for no reason. Just sitting there, taking up space. So I had a big burn purge today. I burned all kinds of boxes and got rid of things. But let me see here. Travis is saying, oh, for your information, Tats Garage will be the channel I will post my build on. Ah, okay. So it's totally awesome, Travis. Okay. Very cool. Very cool. I'll follow along on that. I've got to see what's going on. Tim Miller, it's bad. The relatives, on way and sanding walls and kitchen got body sanding blocks and need painted. Oh, okay. So working on some sheetrock in the kitchen. Yeah, that's always fun. That's always fun. The Dutchman's Wood Shack says, howdy, everyone. Howdy, Dutchman. Glad you're here. And also, Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to you. And it's 20s here. Yeah, no. You can have it. I don't want any of that. None of that. Dawn, hello from Deluge, Soggy, PDX, Cherry Mistimas, and Nappy Hugh Year, everyone. Okay. I'll go with that. That's the Festivus for the rest of us. Is that what you're saying? David Wright. Right Guy Garage, evening to all, and Merry Christmas, Barry. Do the Ford Mustang unibodies, are they the same as Chevy Camaros? Or the design? Well, let me do this. Glad you're here. And Don gave me a hiccup, so he's intoxicated. Okay, so the question is, do the Ford Mustang unibodies, are they the same as Chevy Camaros? And the answer is kind of yes and no. Okay? It's kind of a yes and no. Reason for that, the Camaros have it's a unibody from the firewall back. So the front frame rails, the whole front subframe is bolted on to the Camaro. The Mustang, all of that is welded in place. So the Camaro has basically the same setup. Basically. One big difference is the way the flanges are on the floor pans, because on the Mustang the flanges turn up against the inner rocker, and on the Camaro they turn down on the inner rocker. Why? I don't know. That's Cousin Eddie there. I don't know. So the other difference, huge difference, is the structure for the frame rails. So on the front, or on the Mustang, you've got floor supports that are attached to the cross member, welded into the floor pan, and the frame rails slide into those things, and then they're welded all together and connected and all that sort of thing. On the Camaro, you have 4 mount points. So you have a cross member of sorts, and it comes in and it goes underneath the seat pan. That's where 2 of the bolts go up through the bottom of the floor pan into a big assembly under the floor pan, or under the seat pan. And then the forward section has mounts that come off of the firewall. So it's, like I said, it's similar, but the subframe unbolts out of the Camaro. Now, are there advantages? Probably one way or the other, yes. I mean, you could look at how the Mustang's built. Like the Camaro, if you can take off the fender, you can take off the inner fender, and you've got the frame rail and everything exposed. You've got the engine, all the wiring, everything is right there, easy to get to, let's say, if you take everything off. Whereas the Mustang, you're stuck. You try to take off, you can't take off anything but the outer fenders. And then you're stuck with the shock towers in the way, the aprons, all that stuff is bolted or welded together. Even the core support on the Camaro comes off. I mean, you could just take all that stuff out of there and you have it all exposed. So I think in some ways the Camaro has a better design because of the frame rails. The subframe structure is stronger in a way, but I don't know that I like the mounting system so much. I would rather see a few more connections. But apparently it's worked all these years. They've taken them out, and Smokey Unick raced these things. Donahue and Penske had a great time with these cars, driving them, and they seem to work fine. So that's where the separation comes in, though. At the firewall is the break point for the differences. Tim Miller says, can't wait till dinner and football. Kansas City and your Steelers got any say? I don't know. The Steelers didn't play very well. They made some huge mistakes this past weekend. So hopefully they figure that out and get back on track. Travis, instead of lasagna, we have Christmas tacos. Okay. What's different between a Christmas taco and a regular taco? Or is there any difference between the two? And I'm assuming there's not, but maybe there is. Maybe there's something special you do at Christmas for the Christmas tacos. I really like this cup. Really cool. Oh, Travis says no difference. Okay. Well, then I guess they're just tacos. Because you did say Christmas tacos. So I was just guessing maybe there was some special difference with the Christmas tacos. But I get it. Nothing wrong with that. I like tacos. Me and tacos get along good. Okay. Let me see did I have this... he said Santa makes them that day. Well, that's good. That is good then. I wanted to show you this other picture that I think I still have it on here. I was again going through some of my stuff, some of my pictures. So this was a picture from probably 1987, 88. And that was my 72 Chevy 4x4 that I sold stupidly. And I'm still looking for that truck here locally in Georgia. But I wanted to show you this because that truck was blue when I got it. And me and some friends worked on it. And that was one of really the first overall paint job thing that we were working on. And we got that thing into primer. And I was digging through the barn. And this is no lie. I found these. Yeah, this is rattle can royal blue. And yes, I sprayed my truck with this junk. When you're 20, 21 years old, whatever, you really just don't care. This was from Dollar General stores, and it's literally $1. Has it on there. I don't know if this stuff will even spray. But yes, I was spraying this. I sprayed my truck with this. I figured, you know what? I could spend $12 and paint the whole truck blue. And if it scratches, I can just go get another can and touch it up. But even the crazier part is, I also bought clear coat. It still shakes. I don't know if it has a date on these cans or not, but I'm going to assume that this isn't any good. I don't even know if I want to try to play with them. But you can see there's some cans sitting over here. There's another blue and some more clear. The things you do when you're young and dumb. Just how it works. Let's see. Fairlane Central haven't been on for a while. Good to see everyone. Glad you're here, Fairlane. Steve Reed taking to one of my friends the other day, or talking, I guess, to one of my friends the other day. He got his 69 Coverjet Mustang all welded up now and ready to do body work now, and it's a true 428 Coverjet, and the car is really rusty, and he got the same problem you had on the trunk lid. Yeah. I mean, I knew that was going to be a problem, but it's going to look good. It's going to look really good now. So hopefully you shared that video with him so he could see how to make it look better. David the Bowler Hat Guy, that's a good looking truck. Yeah, let me show you that one more time, because the problem, I bought this truck when I was in the military, and like I said, I stupidly sold this truck. This thing, I put the 6-inch lift kit on it, 33 1250 tires, and if you look at the front, that is a factory brush guard, or dealer or factory, whatever, brush guard. Pretty hard to find those in that condition, and or that style. And if you look underneath the bumper, it had the big tow hooks hanging down underneath the bumper. Okay, those tow hooks are like hen's teeth. You can't find them anymore. That truck was a V8 3-speed manual, and I converted it to a 4-speed truck. Later put a bigger engine in it. And I had that truck, I drove it, off and on up until we moved down here, and I think my dad brought me that truck down sometime in 94, something like that. And we had our sons, we had bills to pay. I was going to night school to take advantage of my VA GI Bill thing, so I could get the money out of that. So I went to night school for welding, and while I was there, I was driving that Malibu back and forth, and there was another guy there who had a Malibu, and his name was Fred Mills, and we got to talking, became friends through school, and then we talked about that truck, and I made a big mistake, and I sold him that truck, and I've been looking for it ever since. The truck, last I had heard, he drove it out of here too. He drove it home from here. It was a running, driving truck. He drove it home, and from my understanding was, I had heard that he had pulled the engine out of it and stuck the engine in his dad's truck, and that's the last I know. And I've done searches all over the place. I have done DMV searches, and from what I've been told, it was never registered again. So I really don't know what's happened to it, but I wish I could find it. It was a really cool truck. My wife and I dated in that truck, and like I said, short bed, 4-speed. The roll bar was just added in. It wasn't anything special, but yeah. Anyway, Richard. The wife makes lasagna with mini meatballs and lots of cheese. We have leftovers for a week after Christmas. Well, but what my family recipe is Virginia brand ham instead of meatballs, and she puts ham and Swiss cheese rolled up in lasagna noodles to make pockets, and then layers the bottom of the pan with meat sauce, puts all the pockets in there, layers it all up again with the meat sauce, adds cheese on top of that. Fantastic. So yeah. But yours sounds good too. I would eat it. I would eat lasagna. I get along with lasagna. And yes, Steve said he did show him that video. Cool. Tim, I was planning to spray my 70 Mach 1 front fenders. Has one coat of EXP 901 and will block, flatter, and resprayed EXP 901 to find low spots. And last, U-pole high build 3 layers. Okay. That sounds good. And Old Blue. Yeah. I don't know if you mean your car or my truck, but yeah. It is, well, and the paint can is old. Steve says I got 4 of them tow hooks. Yeah, those are hard to find. Those are genuinely hard to find. Now you can find them on the big trucks, like the like our junkyard trucks we had. We had a 72 rollback, and it had the hooks that were on top of the bumper. They were like, I mean, they were curved, but they weren't curved. The ones on that truck, they've got a goofy curve to them. But the ones on the big record trucks, they're just a straight hook, and they just bolt on top of the frame rail, or on top of the frame up in right behind the bumper. Those you can find, but the other ones with the curve, they're really hard to find. I've seen them sell for $300 and $400 a set, simply because you can't find them. And I don't know that anybody ever like reproduced them or tried to reproduce them or anything like that. But yeah, that's just some of the mystery junk. And I threw away all kinds of stuff that was just out in the garage. I mean, out in the shed. You know, I've got, like, over here, I've got this bucket. And I used to save bolts all the time. Just like bolts. I would take something apart, and we all did that. So I've got like these little brackets and stuff. I have no idea what this is for. No idea. I've got some wiring harnesses. For what? A little piece of wiring harnesses. There's light. I think some of this might be part of the Model A that my grandfather's Model A. I don't know. But I don't know that I need any of it. But yet, we hang on to this stuff all the time. All the time. Marty, hey Barry, hello from the Great White North. Never going to be the 51st state. Yeah. yeah. I don't think we'd ever really want it to be the 51st state. I know there's been a lot of talk about that. Yeah, I don't think that we would ever have Canada as the 51st state anyway. Oh, Steve said, the hooks he has are off the regular pickup. Yeah, like I said, they're hard to get. Oh, Steve, if you need, I don't know if you're into those trucks, but I can tell you, over there in that corner right there, you see that tall tube? That real tall tube? Those are 9-foot stainless bed strips for a Longhorn 3/4 ton Chevy or GMC truck. Yeah, I had a Longhorn. Maybe it was 8'6". I don't remember. But they made a bed that was over 8 feet. I think maybe it was 8'6". It wasn't 9 foot. It was 8'6". So back in the early 70s, Chevy produced these trucks. They put an extension on the bed to make it just a little bit longer, and then the floor, if I remember correctly, they were all wood floors. So I had bought a set of wood strips, and I think I bought the plank and everything to redo that Longhorn truck, and I never did it. And I sold the wood, but I've got I've got a full set of those stainless strips. They're beautiful. They're beautiful. So if anybody needs a rare set of stainless bed strips for a Chevy or GMC Longhorn, I got them right here. I got them. I'll make you a deal. Make you a deal. Not easy to ship, by the way. David, I saw the picture you posted on Facebook of the pile of stuff from the shed. Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of. I have a set of 14 by 7 Chevy rally wheels. I don't know where they came from. I really have no idea. It's probably just been something that I was at a yard sale or something, and I thought, oh, rally wheels, I'll get them. So apparently there's people that want those though. I think the Camaros, early Camaros or something, came with 14 by 7 rally wheels. So I have the wheels, but I don't have the centers or beauty rings. So yeah, I have those. I think I know I have 3 good 15 by 8 rallies, and one has some mangled up on the edge a little bit of the rim. But there's all kinds of stuff, and when you're car people, you hoard, you hang on to these things. And then eventually, like Dawn is saying here, as soon as you get rid of it, you'll remember what they are for and need them. Yeah. Well, hold on a second. I threw this away earlier today. Where did it go? Okay. I threw this away earlier today. And I was like, why do I have this? And I think this is a taillight lens for a 65 Impala. I think that's what this is. And I was like, why do I have this? What am I doing with this? I've never had a 65 Impala. And then I started thinking about it. And a guy that I served in the Army with had a 65 Impala. And I may have just bought this somewhere to give to him and never did it. And so this has just been sitting, collecting dust. And I threw it away. I did. This was in the trash can a minute ago. And then of course, I'm like, where can I put that? Steve Reed, I remember them, but my truck I have now is a short bed. Yeah. Yeah. And yes, the wheels were on Camaro, Nova, and Corvette. Yeah. So I guess the 14 by 7s, I looked at them and they have a code on them. It's JJ, and the JJ code has to deal with the type of flange that is on how the flange is made. From what I read online, so I have no use for them. So if anybody needs a set of 14 by 7 Chevy, Corvette, whatever rally wheels, I got them. But I don't need them. Michael Pagliarini, any rally center caps with disc brakes by GM on them? You talking about the center cap themselves that say disc brakes? I've never seen that. I've never seen any like that I can think of. It actually said disc brakes on them. I don't know that I've ever seen one of those. I also probably have a full set. So back sometime I don't even know how long ago. I worked on my buddy's 69 Corvette. And this was I don't know what the name, the code name was back then for the 427 4-speed ZR1. I don't know what the name, they gave ZL1 or whatever. I don't know what the name was. But they had it was a 69 Corvette. And he had the original wheels with it, but he didn't like them. I guess they needed redone or something. So he had put some tires on them, and then later on he bought a brand new set of 15-inch rims, and he said I could have these other rims. So I think I have 3 of those on the Camaro right now. I think. So I don't know if it matters on the Corvettes, if they're date coded a certain way, if it matters to anything, but I probably have a full set of 15 by 8. I don't know if they're 7s or 8s now. I don't even remember. 69 Corvette rally wheels. Yeah, that I'll never use. Robert says 14 and 15 wheels are easy to find, but not many tires left in those sizes. And often when you do find a tire, it's not a very good tire and very expensive. Yeah. I was just looking at the other day. I sold a rim, a 14 by 6 Mustang rim, stock rim, like a spare. And it had a tire on it that was a reproduction by Coker. And when I told the guy, this is what I'll take, I sold it pretty cheap. After I told him what I was going to sell it to him for, I looked up the tire, and that replica tire by Coker is over $300. And I did not charge him for that. I sold the rim and the tire, and that was part of my first purge, something I purged out of the garage. But yeah, that Coker tire, there was a reproduction of a Firestone, I think it was Firestone with a white wall on it. Over $300 for that tire. Now, Michael says yes, 68 only on the disc brakes by GM. Okay, well I'll have to look for that because I know I don't have any of those. And Steve says Corvette was normally 15 by 8. Yes, I'm pretty confident those are 15 by 8s. It would have to be, but I haven't looked at them specifically in quite some time. I also have a brand new set of 15 by 8 rally wheels. I mean, they're new. They're new. And I'm trying to remember the scenario. Somebody was building a project. I don't remember what they were building, but it had GM rally wheels on it. And they ended up not finishing the project. So they sold me the wheels, and they had 2 BF Goodrich radial TA tires mounted. These are old. I mean, I say old. These tires are probably 10 years old, but they've never seen the sunlight. They've been mounted on those wheels sitting in that barn ever since. And I know there's a date. They talk about a date on tires and wearing out. These things look like they're brand new, and I doubt they would have any issue actually being used because they've never been exposed to sunlight. They've never been exposed to any kind of weather. They still have the nubs on them. I mean, they're brand new tires, but they've been contained and safely stored away in my barn. Anyway, I want to show you one other picture, and I've shown these. I've shown this before. We talk about Christmas and getting presents and all these different things, and I'm still going to say this was my favorite Christmas present that I got as a kid. So yeah, that's me in my parents' kitchen, probably 74. I'm guessing somewhere around 74. And in my hands is a spin welder. And I've talked about this before. This was a toy that you had a 6-volt battery. You have what looked like a little drill, and you would take pieces of plastic and you would melt the plastic together with that little drill. And so basically it was, I don't know how fast that thing spun, but you would take 2 pieces of plastic, put it together, and take that rod, a little rod thing you would put on the end of that drill, and you would heat it up. So it was like a fusion type of welding, I guess, or friction welding, I don't know. But you would weld together that piece of plastic. And I had a friend, actually, if you probably can't, I know you can't see it. If I could tilt the camera. If you look right up there on top of my cabinet and the top of the jukebox thing, that is an original spin welder kit that was an airplane. That's the same kit that I had when I was a kid in that picture, and he found that somebody had they were having a yard sale or something. I don't remember the exact scenario, and he found that and asked me if I wanted it, and I was like, yeah. So I think it's missing the little drill thing, but the kit is all there with all the plastics, and it was a biplane. So that was the first airplane that I've ever worked on. I just thought it was really cool, and like I said, that was probably my most memorable Christmas gift that I've ever got as a kid or any time. And I don't go out of my way like now when it's Christmas time. People ask, "What do you want? What do you want? What do you want?" I don't want anything. I don't want anything. Leave me alone. Robert says, for me, eating Christmas dinner at home is strange. Growing up, we always had Thanksgiving and Christmas dinner at a restaurant. Of course, that was the norm in Hawaii, but still feels strange. Okay. Yeah, we used to have big dinners at my grandmother's place, and of course now with my wife, when we were dating before we moved away, we'd go to their family, and we always had big dinners, especially at grandma's house. I can remember all the cousins, and that's a great thing to do, and for us, we can't really do that anymore. All of our family, my wife and I, her families, all of our families live in Pennsylvania. And our immediate family, our kids and our grandkids, all are here. And their family, my daughter-in-law's family, are all here. So we just do Christmas with them and with our in-laws from her. And so we never get the chance to go. We used to, a long time ago, go up to Pennsylvania. We'd take a road trip and spend a week up there and enjoy our time together with family, but now it's just us here and our kids and grandkids, which is good. That's fine. I'm happy with that. Anyway, so like I said, there's not much going on out here in the shop. I am trying to go through some things. I was kind of shocked earlier today. I have a toolbox that is I used it when I worked for Delta. Now, whenever you worked for Delta Airlines back in the 90s, 80s, probably 70s, each mechanic had their own toolbox. And you would get that toolbox, and the first thing you did was take the wheels off of it, because you were going to add something to that. Meaning, you would have, let's say you had a basic box that was 3 feet wide and whatever, standard box. But you would add like a little side cabinet. You would build it yourself. And so like I have this toolbox, it's a Proto brand toolbox. And it has a side cabinet, has a stainless steel top on it, has an aluminum frame all the way around it. The side box is all aluminum. And you make all this stuff, and it's part of, they allows you to do that because you actually got some experience putting things together and making stuff fit. So this toolbox has a forward-facing cabinet with a slide-out drawer that all is handmade by me, and then on the side, it has another door that opens up where you could put, like, if you wanted to hang up a T-shirt or something inside, whatever. Yeah, I don't know what I was kind of making it for like a jacket space, but that toolbox has been sitting in my back of my garage for years and years, and I don't use it for anything. It has all my old aviation stuff in it, and I was looking at it today thinking I should probably get rid of that. So I looked it up. It's a Proto brand, 8-drawer toolbox. It's only about 3 feet wide. I don't even know. And I looked it up, and the first site that popped up was Granger. And I was shocked because that toolbox was $3,000 on Granger. $3,000 for just the box with wheels, of course, that sort of thing. And I'm looking at that thinking, what? I mean, it's a beautiful box as far as solid, great rollers, all that sort of thing, but $3,000. And now I'm like, well, if I sold it, what could I get for it? Because it's got the custom box on the side, the stainless steel top, all those sort of things. And it's just kind of I was shocked. But what would happen at Delta is everybody had these toolboxes, and you could buy them on payroll deduct. And if I remember correctly, that toolbox back then was probably $800, probably $700 or $800. And then, of course, you do the add-ons, and they would provide you with all the materials. You could use the aluminum. They'd build a frame on the bottom out of angle iron that they would weld wheels on for you. So you had a base, and you would take these toolboxes all over the place in the hangars. And what we would normally do, because you would lose that toolbox, you wouldn't know where it was. And you would always have fun with people. You could take their toolbox and move it from bay 6 to bay 9. And we're talking, that's like 200 yards, okay? You could hide it somewhere, and then they would spend the first hour of their shift trying to find their toolbox. So what we would do is we'd put little flags on them. Like you'd come up with like a bicycle flag, you'd put on the back of a bike, and you might put something on the flag that you would identify as yours so that you could find it. Well, eventually Delta got rid of made us take all these boxes home. They didn't want us to have them anymore, and they became community toolboxes that you had to sign out and whatever, all this crazy stuff. But basically, I have all this. I've had all my aircraft stuff in that toolbox, and I'm like, I don't even use this anymore. I've got this big box over here from Harbor Freight, and it's a fantastic box. I don't need any more space. I don't need to have. So it's one of those things that I'm hanging on to. For what purpose? What am I going to do with it? My kids don't want it. At what point do I go, you know what? Let me just sell this thing and get it out of here. But I'm still struggling with that. Let me see here. Anthony Carver, Merry Christmas, J Daddy. My '68 Mustang Coupe to Fastback is really coming along. Good, you have helped a lot, and mostly Mr. Gone and 60 has helped me. Anxious to see you do a coupe to Fastback. Well, I'm looking forward to that as well, and that's gonna be a good project. It's gonna be a good project, and I'm planning that's coming next year, and I'm debating on how I'm going to manage that going into next year, because I know that I can't paint the Mach 1 Cobra Jet right now, and I'm not going to have good weather for probably 2-3 months. So I may end up rolling into the Fastback deal. I may have to just start on it. I did that before. I think when I started working on, was it a year ago, the Bronco? I did some work on the Bronco, and then I couldn't paint it, so I worked on the Mach 1, and then I went back and finished the Bronco, and then I came back to the Mach 1. So I may have to just dive into the Fastback deal, because I want to keep stuff moving. But we'll see. The first part, and the real difficult thing with YouTube is, as we all know, they don't pay very well. But the first few months of the year, the advertisers aren't there for revenue. Like, there's a lot of YouTubers, they won't hardly put out anything in January and maybe even February, simply because there's no revenue to earn. And normally what happens is towards the end of the year, it picks up because of advertising for Christmas and that sort of thing. But early on, and that's where I struggle with even creating content to put out in that time of the year, because there's no revenue to make. So, Dave Tyson is saying maybe Santa will bring some warm weather. Well, that would be awesome. I would really like to have that, because I really would like to get the Mach 1 done and out of here before I start on something else. I really would like to have that happen, but I don't know that I can. And Tim says, convert it to your shop at home. You're talking about the toolbox? Yeah, that's. I really don't have. I just don't have a use for it. I don't have a use for it. And winters are tough to painting cars. Temperatures are all over the place. Yeah, yeah, and that's where, when you have a home building, like a home shop, you're stuck. You can't just say, "Hey, I'm going to paint today." You have to have temperature, and you have to have airflow, and you have to have the right combination of both, or it's just not going to happen. You're going to end up with a really bad paint job, and I can't do that. Now, I have had a few days where I probably could have done something. One thing I've been thinking about doing is, like, there's the rear valance and there's the rock guard. And I know I like to paint everything on the cars. I really do. I like to have as much on the car as I can. But as I think about it, I'm like, I don't want to have the rear valance on the car, because whenever you're painting, you want that paint to come around and get on the bottom of the quarter panel, get underneath the bumper. You want all that stuff to have the right paint on it. Same way with the rock guard. I don't want to paint the rock guard installed. It's going to have to be free from the car. So I've actually been kind of processing with the idea, okay, well, maybe if I get a decent day or two, I could set up the rear valance and have it hanging on one of my stands at the angle that it's supposed to be, put the paint on, right, and clear coat it, and do the same thing with the rock guard. Maybe even do the front valance at the same time. Maybe, as much as I don't want to, the extensions on the front and rear. But I like to paint those on the car with the flow of the quarters and the flow of the fenders. So I've just been kind of like playing with what can I get done and have them out of the way and still make some content for the channel. Let's see. Tim Miller says, 3 days or more, not rushed. I like April, no bugs, and warm middays. Yeah. That's. I think I was able to get. I think I did the Bronco in, I think it was March, I think. And the weather was perfect for doing that thing. I mean, I really nailed it on that vehicle. Dawn says, I painted Betsy in the spring, and it was a challenge. Temperatures were swinging 35 degrees. Yeah, that's too big a swing. And, and the thing is, when you're painting, and we've seen this even at the body shop, you could paint something or parts of something one day and then paint the next day, and it doesn't work out. It's like you got to get it all within that same window to make things match, let's say. SW140 just subscribed. Awesome. Whoops, wait. You get a bell for that. Thank you. Appreciate you being here. Robert, no painting in the summer here. Too hard to provide enough cool air. Yeah. I wouldn't even want to try to spray stuff out there in Texas. That would be a nightmare. We've had. That's what I miss a lot about the body shop. Like, we had a real paint booth. We had good heat, and it was so nice to have that accessible. So, like, there were some things that we painted there that were mine. One of them was the dune buggy that I think I have. Well, we did like this Camaro. We painted that at the body shop. This guy, and this was back in 2007, I think. 2006 or 2007, we painted that car. And that guy still hasn't done anything more than keep it clean and take it to shows. And that thing was just nice. It's still nice. and we did speed buggy there, and that just turned out incredible. Um, those are some of the cars that we had painted back at the body shop, and I can get a good paint job in my booth that I have, but there's something magical about a real paint booth, because you just so much more control over what's happening. Dawn says, "So Robert, you are ready to paint? It's winter." Yeah, yeah. And Robert says the body shops here have very large AC units to supply their booths. Yeah, yeah. We never really had to. We never really had to worry about that. Even here in Georgia, because we had the shop was huge. Um, I want to say we had like 5,000 square feet. I think it's how big it was. It was like 100 by 50 or something building. Enough that we could have the whole paint booth over in a corner and the frame machine and all that other stuff. In fact, if you're on Patreon, if you ever get on there, and you look at my background photo that I have, it's of the body shop. It's actually showing some of the vehicles that were in the body shop at that time, and we could have, gosh, how many? What was it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cars on one side. I think 6 or 7 on the other side, and we had room in the middle for another 2 or 3. And we had the paint booth. I mean, it was a nice shop. Tim Miller, you wake up and felt yesterday was a day. So 3 days we spray Mustang fenders off and body stands, front parts. They're all stuff at one time. Yeah, yeah. Robert, I have no room in the shop to work at the moment. Had to empty the garage for another car. Yeah, that'll be a hindrance. More stuff. SW, I always hated painting all day long in the summer heat. The body shop I painted at didn't have the AC luxury. Yeah, yeah, that would be a struggle. And you have to make sure you get your reducer right and all that stuff. Yeah, that's why I tend to paint like once a year. That's what it comes down to. Basically, I paint a car about once a year, and that's about it. But that's just fine. I did that little, what was it, a Honda earlier this year, where I painted the front clip, and that turned out really nice. But that's a whole different animal whenever you're doing a collision job versus a nice muscle car or something. You take different standards, different materials and that sort of thing. So yeah, I'm looking forward to getting the Cobra Jet painted, along with everything else that I have on my bucket list of things to do. Dawn says it's tough to have the different activators and reducers on hand as the conditions change. Yeah. Yeah. Well, the biggest difficulty I have with my paint booth is having the 2 fans on the backside. Inevitably, I get runs on one of the corners because I don't have I can't get the air to flow across the way it should. And so I end up with runs or sags on a quarter panel or something. Bob Shoemaker, one of the shops here has a lot of space, but hard to heat in winter. So the guys go in a paint booth to warm tools and themselves. Yeah. Yeah. I don't like being cold at all. So I get that. Tim tried spray parts different times. It was okay, not same texture. Sanded and buffed was Brittany blue. Yep. Yeah, it's tough to get everything just right. And that's why I try to bolt everything I can onto the car, or at least have it in the right space. I think when I did that Bronco, I had set like the front fenders forward on the inner fenders so that I had a gap so I could do the front of the doors, I could do the inside of the kick panel, and get all the paint everywhere that it needed to be so it would look good. And that I will say that Bronco. I don't know if I all I have is this. I think this picture right here. That Bronco turned out incredible. I was very, very happy with the end result of that. I mean, the owner was very happy because when I got that thing, you saw this picture, I got it like that, and then I ended up having to fix half the stuff that the other people messed up, so that the doors would shut right, and a bunch of different things I had to fix on that Bronco. But that's the thing. And my buddy who I painted that for, he knows how picky I am, and that's pretty much the reason why he wanted me to do it. Because I know that before I ever paint something, I want to make sure everything fits. I want to make sure the door's shut. I want to make sure everything works the way it's supposed to before I ever go back to the paint process. Tim says doors on a 70 Mustang. I've seen it both ways. Okay. Okay. We've been at this an hour and 12 minutes, and I think I'm probably at a good stop point. Running out of things to talk about. Christmas is coming, and, it's that time of year where we're going to celebrate, open presents, and, of course, enjoy our time with family and friends and all that sort of thing. So I want to thank all of you for being here. I think I should probably be back next Monday. I think. I don't know what's the actual date of that. It's not New Year's, is it? Let me look at my calendar. Okay, so the 30th is next. Yeah. I should probably be back next Monday. I should probably be back. So, anyway, we'll plan on that, and we'll see if there's anything new we can talk about, and all the presents and stuff we got. So anyway, that'll be it for tonight. Again, thanks for being here. Merry Christmas to you, your family. Make sure you give everybody hugs and love them while you can, because one day they may not be around. Just saying. Until next time, take care of yourselves. See ya.